here on First Things First. Time now for Say What? Drake and his sideline antics have been a big topic of discussion this postseason, both elsewhere and to my right. Naturally, Warriors head coach Steve Kerr was asked about it. Say what?
I'm not worried about Drake. I called him on his cell phone earlier, and my daughter's rolling her eyes right now. She's like, "Dad, no more dad jokes, please." So sorry.
Steve Kerr loves himself a good dad joke now. That's a great one. I do have a question for you, Chris Carter. Who do you think Drake's rooting for in these finals?
I don't know who.
Tell him why you're asking.
Well, I mean, he does have a tattoo of Steph Curry's jersey and of Kevin Durant's jersey. So, like, Drake, diehard Raptor fans, I don't know, Drake, you got a few days, get a Kawhi Leonard tattoo. You're Mr. Toronto, you're the I'm trying to make an important point.
I don't get it.
This is the music video. This is the video.
Oh, yes, I get it.
Steve Kerr, the Drake song.
Call me on the cell phone.
Hotline bling with the line, call me on my cell phone. I'm not going to sing on television. We'll get sued. We're not allowed to sing Drake's lyrics. He's probably already very mad. Well, okay, that's just trust us.
Okay.
That's a video that, like, what it would look like if we were.
They had to Photoshop it because we couldn't do a video because you can't dance and Nick Wright definitely cannot dance.
I've learned how to dance.
Prove it.
Do dance.
When's the last time you were out at the?
Yeah, you know what? Maybe you're the one that can't dance.
Night spot, Chris Carter.
Yeah.
How about that?
Nick and I have been dancing a lot after the show.
Okay, don't include. I'm not on that corner.
Get on the corner.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not on your Elaine Bennis, all thumbs and knees.
There you go.
What is that?
Go ahead and dance so all these people can slide into your DM.
What?
No. Do it, Jenna.
That's
Do
not.
it, Jenna.
That was misspoken.
Oh.
This is a new move I've learned. It goes up and down.
You're just doing workouts.
No, CC.
Just doing workouts.
Wait, did you lie to me? Was that not a real move, CC? That's the move you taught me. I've been spinning that around town.
I lied to you again.
Time for stories to start your morning. Anthony Davis is hoping to be traded to the Lakers to join LeBron this offseason, but Pelicans executive David Griffin reportedly met with AD yesterday to try to convince the big man to stay in New Orleans. Nick, any chance AD is a Pelican for the long haul?
Here's the thing. They would have to convince him before the season started because David Griffin is too smart to let Anthony Davis play another game with New Orleans without signing an extension, because then you risk having this asset walk out the door for nothing. And so, no, I don't think they can convince him with words. Maybe they could convince him by him falling in love with playing with Zion. Drew Holiday has another great year, but I don't think they're going to have that opportunity. I think he gets moved this summer.
Yes, Griffin's doing all the right things, but this is about a player. Of the top 10 players, no other player needs branding like Anthony Davis. He wants to be in New York or Los Angeles. So if he's not on the Lakers, he's going to be on the Knicks. That meeting, I'm sure Anthony Davis finally told them, just like Kawhi Leonard last year told Greg Popovich in that face-to-face meeting, I don't want to be here. I think a similar things happened in the meeting with AD.
All right, moving on. Let's talk some Steph Curry, as he'll be leading the Warriors into Game 1 of the Finals against the Toronto Raptors. That's Thursday night. Steph says resume pretty tight. 3-time NBA champ, 2-time regular season MVP, and voted best baby face in the league. But what he doesn't have is a finals MVP. Steph opens the series as the favorite to win it, though. Nick, would a finals MVP impact Steph's legacy?
Oh, of course. If he gets a finals MVP, it's very hard to make an argument he's not one of the 20 greatest players ever. You can already make the argument he is. But if he has that, there's no more hole in his resume. And he could look eye to eye with any of those guys in that 15 to 20 range and say, why are you better than me? What have you accomplished that I haven't accomplished? He already is the greatest shooter ever and one of the 3 greatest ball handlers ever with 3 rings and a unanimous MVP. This is the one thing he's missing.
I'm wondering who's on the committee that's voting for best babyface. Jenna, are you on? Because do you cast your vote? Is that
babyface?
Committee of one? Yeah, Steph Curry.
Tuesday I did.
Who else is on it?
Yeah, so it's me, it's my 2 kids.
No, who else is on the list?
Oh, for babyface? Just Danny Ainge from 1986 and then Steph Curry from 2019.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah, okay.
That's the more important. Not being an iconic basketball player.
The babyface.
Yeah, Jenna's making a list.
Absolutely. Best babyface.
For the first time ever.
I have other more pressing lists I'd like to get out, but I guess now's not the time
Okay,
to talk
we'll work on that. You and Deontay.
Despite his 60, love you, Deontay. Despite his 60-win regular season and probable MVP honors, Giannis Antetokounmpo couldn't get it done as the Bucks fell to Toronto. Missed out on a shot at the finals. So where does does that leave the core of this Milwaukee team? Well, if it were up to Giannis, he would leave it untouched. Giannis posting to his Instagram account, "We'll be back stronger and better. Milwaukee, thank you for supporting my teammates and I this entire season. We couldn't have done it without you all." CeCe, how well are the Bucks set up now for the future?
Well, I think the Giannis and the Bucks did a good job of their exit interviews and everything yesterday. Not only did they meet with the coaches, front office, but they met with the media. And Giannis talked about walking around Milwaukee and the difference in when he first came to town compared to now. Not only do they have a new arena, but he talked about the signage of Milwaukee Bucks stuff that's throughout the city, the jerseys, the kids and the people there, how the culture has changed. They got a very good basketball team, and he talked about, too, they had an exceptional season. It's rare to win 60 games, make it to the conference final, first year of Coach Bud, very, very young team. And Giannis pointed out, too, that he likes the makeup of the team. He wants the team to be able to come back. Now, that's impossible in its totality to be able to run it again because he believed they could have won a world championship this year. But he said a couple other things. He said I don't want to be mean, but there's no a-holes on the team. And he said, I want everyone to come back. He said, we love coming to work. We love everyone's sacrifices. We have a roster full of guys that everyone plays the right way. And Giannis about guys being unselfish because he is the leader. And if he's going to be unselfish, he's expecting to have a team full of guys that are unselfish. So those things, I believe Giannis is doing all the right things, saying all the right things, but it's hard. It's hard to get back to right where they were. You don't pick up in week number 1 next year where they're a 60-team win again. No, you have to start building that mountain. I believe that their general manager sat right here, told us they're doing everything the right way. They do have a formula to win. They'll put shooters on the court with Giannis. I love the style for which they're playing, and I love the way that they put pressure on Giannis to develop his game. So I think they're doing all the right things in Milwaukee to create a championship atmosphere.
I know that sometimes you don't like it when I say a team could have done this, but I think you'll agree with me. This Bucks team could have won the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yes.
It is not, they don't need some massive, you didn't look at this series and say, man, yeah, they're a regular season team, but they're going to be, they can't get past this. They were right there. As far as losing in 6, you feel like, if they were that close. No, they were that close. You got to
go back to Game 3.
You go back to Game 3. You could even go back to Game 6. The 15-point lead with 14 minutes left in that game, where if they can just close that out, they have a Game 7 last night in Milwaukee. So they had opportunities. So the only reason you wouldn't run it back is if the handful of billionaires that bought this team for $550 million decides they don't want to pay the luxury tax. And that would be such a foolish decision. And I know in general we're not in the business of spending other people's money, but I don't mind spending owners' money. Buying a sports team is not like buying another business. You are buying a part of the community. There are only so many of these available. You get those courtside seats. You get a parade if you win a championship. As Mark Cuban said, you can have the greatest quarter in the history of Wall Street. They're not throwing you a parade down Fifth Avenue. We get a parade when we win. There is an element of, and you know you might lose money in any given year, but the real value in buying a major
Nick,
American
how long ago
sports
did
team,
they purchase this team?
5 years ago.
No, who was the star of the team then?
Giannis was a young player. I don't even.
Oh,
right.
Okay, so you don't purchase that type of asset and say, I'm just going to ride this out.
Right, and when you make your real money when you buy a sports team, when you sell it. When you sell it for 10x your investment. When they bought the Milwaukee Bucks, it was for the most anyone ever paid for a team. It was $550 million. What are they worth now, 5 years later? $1.5 billion? They got that new Fiserv Forum. They have one of the best players in basketball. So why does this matter? A year from now, Giannis is going to be in the exact position Anthony Davis is in this summer, Kawhi Leonard was in last summer, which is they're going to slide across the table to him a supermax extension. For Giannis to be about 5 years, $247 million. If they don't show the commitment to the team this summer by bringing back Middleton, Brogdon, and trying to bring back Lopez, but absolutely Middleton and Brogdon, and I would argue Lopez as well, then you are giving Giannis a reason to leave. You're giving Giannis a reason to say, because I don't think it's about the glitz and glamour of the coast. I think it's about winning and getting back to this point and further next year. And so to me, you have to make that investment in those players this year so you have the opportunity to make the investment in Giannis.
And realize you had 2 superstars. Right now we have AD. He met with Griff. We had Kawhi. They slid the paper across. These 2 guys. They slid it back where the money wasn't as important. It's a different breed of athlete. There's a lot of money to be made off the court, other places. You don't have to be in a big market to do it. So don't be surprised if Giannis doesn't see what he likes. As far as them keep building, slide that paper back, and then they got real problems.
And you think about what happened with Kawhi and Anthony Davis. With Anthony Davis, they had 7 years to build a good team around him, never could. Got to the second round of the playoffs once. With Kawhi, they basically called him a liar and questioned his sports integrity. That's how the situation Giannis is in. He hasn't flirted with any other teams, any other cities. He has seemed to really enjoy Milwaukee, but he wants to win. If you run it back next year with a lesser team because you want to avoid the luxury tax, you are risking the single best asset in the NBA, which is Giannis. And if he walks, okay, maybe 15 years from now, you'll get lucky and find another Giannis, but the odds are you won't. You pay these guys.
All right, we'll leave it there. Coming up, is Kawhi's finals run with the Raptors just the beginning? That's next on First Things First.
He doesn't have that wandering eye like Kyrie. Huh?
No wandering eye.
Nice and faithful.
Not flirt.